Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat? Maybe, no, likely. Biggest question for the Saints this offseason is what's going to happen at quarterback. And we've all discussed all the possibilities. Might it be draft? Might they resign Jameis? Are they looking at free agency? Could they do a deal for Russell Wilson? The combine was this past week, as you well know. And so all of the ESPN reporters who were at the combine kind of emptied out their notebook from the combine for a piece at ESPN.com. And Jeremy Fowler had a little nugget. And I'll read it to you. You might have seen this at ESPN.com. But Fowler wrote, "The wildest rumor I heard this week, quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo potentially pairing with New Orleans. This would be a surprise since many around the league expect Jameis Winston to return to the Saints. But if Rodgers and Wilson aren't moved, Garoppolo becomes one of the top options available. Maybe New Orleans at least kicks this idea around." Okay. Before you immediately poo-poo this, I want to remind you that it was about a month ago, a similar piece to this, where they were making the bold predictions about the upcoming offseason, and one of them was a prominent coach was going to leave his role on the sideline for TV. And they mentioned three. They mentioned Sean McVay, Sean Payton, and Pete Carroll. Well, Sean Payton checked that box, and Sean McVay was close. So before you poo-poo it, typically when this type of chatter happens and then it makes it into print, there's a reason. I'm not saying definitively that Jimmy Garoppolo is the primary target for the Saints, but what I am saying is that the Saints have got to be prepared for the possibility that Jameis Winston signs somewhere else, because there is a very real possibility in a year like this where there is not a very strong quarterback draft. You don't have the two or three guys that are the no-brainers at the top of the draft that are absolutely going to be taken. There isn't the Burrow, the Zach Wilson, whoever it is, whoever you feel like is that guy. That guy isn't in this draft, or guys aren't in this draft. So quarterback-needy teams are looking for options, and Jameis has well proved that he can be a good teammate. He's coachable. He's shown a lot of good stuff in New Orleans, a lot of maturity. And he was winning last year before the injury. So there's going to be a team somewhere that says, we believe in him, and they're going to pay him. And maybe it's New Orleans, but there could be a team that comes in from the outside, and Pittsburgh's the one that is the most commonly mentioned because they wanted to sign him 2 years ago. But there could be a team that comes in and pays way more than the Saints are willing to. And if that's the case, and you're New Orleans, you have to have another option. So what is that option? Maybe it's Jimmy Garoppolo. The thing about Jimmy Garoppolo, though, is I don't know necessarily if I'm New Orleans that I'm willing to trade for Jimmy Garoppolo. Why would I get... There's two parts to this. I would say, why would I give up an asset to get Jimmy Garoppolo when we know the 49ers want to be rid of him and to start Trey Lance? Well, his dead cap number in San Fran this year is $1.4 million. His cap hit, if he's on the roster, is $26.95 million. So it's $27 million bucks. He's gone from San Francisco either way. If San Fran can get an asset for him, I'm sure they'd love that. But if nobody wants to do a deal and they want to wait for Jimmy G to hit the open market to then sign him, well, San Francisco is just going to cut him or outright release him, and he becomes a free agent. So either way, he's not back in San Francisco. If you're New Orleans and you're interested, you have two options. You either do a deal to ensure that you get the player, or you wait until he hits free agent, you wait for them to release him outright, and then hope he signs with you, which there's no guarantee. I mean, he could sign somewhere else. There could be, as we mentioned, like with Jameis, there is a market of teams that need quarterbacks, and there aren't many obvious options. So if Aaron Rodgers ends up staying in Green Bay, which it's seeming more and more likely that he will, if you can't get a deal done to get Russell Wilson out of Seattle, what are your options? Jameis, Garoppolo, Carson Wentz. There aren't really players that are in the top tier in this quarterback market that are available. Do you take a chance in the draft and hope that you hit on one of the guys that's available? Maybe. I guess the point is you don't have many great options, which is why I've continued to stump for Jameis Winston. The problem that I have with Jimmy Garoppolo is exactly this. He was the quarterback of the 49ers when they went to the Super Bowl and had a 2-score lead in the fourth quarter. They paid him $137 million, and they're kicking him to the curb. They know him best. They know what they have or what they don't have. They know what he's capable of and what he's not capable of. And the truth is with Jimmy Garoppolo is he's won a lot of games. His record as a starting quarterback, he's got 33 wins in his 47 starts. They've won a lot of games with Jimmy Garoppolo at quarterback. But it's a very obvious scenario where they're not winning because of him. They're winning with him at quarterback. And we've seen it over and over again. And when you look at this market, you're talking about Andy Dalton, Marcus Mariota, Mitchell Trubisky, Teddy Bridgewater, Ryan Fitzpatrick, mentioned Jameis, of course. Carson Wentz could be a cap casualty. You're not talking about guys that instill a ton of confidence as someone that you could build around. The one in that group who you could say at least has the possibility is Jameis. You know what Mariota is. You know what Andy Dalton is. You know what Trubisky is or isn't. Jameis at least has the physical ability and has shown the wherewithal, has a 5,000-yard season. Like, he could be there. I'm not saying he definitively is, but he could be. Garoppolo, you know what Garoppolo is. He's a game manager. Jimmy Garoppolo could come quarterback the New Orleans Saints next year, and they could be a 10-7 football team and go to the playoffs, but they're not winning a championship. So, yes, and it's worth mentioning, Garoppolo has one more year left on his contract. So you could bring him in, and he could be, you could make a trade for him, trade a middle, late-round pick, and bring him in to ensure you get him. But his contract number is massive. He's got a $26 million cap hit this year. It's actually right at $27 million cap hit. So you have a large cap hit, a large contract number. You have to give up an asset to get him. And he's likely a one-year guy, unless if you're committing long-term, because you could make the trade for him, and then you could commit a 5-year contract to him, and then you can get a lesser cap number this year and spread it out over those years. But you got to be committed to this guy. If it's a one-year deal, why would you pay that number for 1 year with Jimmy Garoppolo? If it's going to be a one-year deal, go sign Teddy Bridgewater, a guy who's been in New Orleans, is a fan favorite, knows your roster, your culture, got along well with everybody. Go sign Teddy Bridgewater for 1 year, and then make your determination what you're going to do in the future. If it's next year's draft or free agency next year, whatever you're going to work out. But there aren't many things about the Garoppolo idea that make sense, because it's going to cost you an asset to get him. You're going to have to either pay him a big number this year or give him a long-term contract, and you know what he is, and more importantly, what he isn't. So Jeremy Fowler with the report that the Saints very well could be kicking the tires on a deal to bring Jimmy Garoppolo to New Orleans, but I just can't see any way that this makes sense from an acquisition standpoint, from a salary cap standpoint, and from a competitive standpoint. I hope this isn't the road that New Orleans goes down. We'll all find out in time, in short order, as the league year gets started less than 2 weeks from now. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.